Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Fact-checking Sarah Palin. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Once again, I'm going to keep it short because we have a major policy interview with Sarah Palin this evening. But did you know the Associated Press, America's largest news wire service, used 11 reporters to check the accuracy of Sarah Palin's new book, Going Rogue? 11. Barack Obama has had 2 best-selling books. The AP did not fact-check either one. Spokesman Paul Colford says that's because then-Senator Obama wasn't a major player when his books came out. Even if you believe that flimsy excuse, once he did become a presidential contender, shouldn't the AP have then fact-checked his books? Now, I know I am beating a dead industry here, but the blatant left-wing bias of the American press has reached critical mass. It's simply out of control. Even if you don't like Sarah Palin, you know she's been treated unfairly by the media. Shouldn't be happening in America. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, Governor Palin and public policy. We begin with President Obama. President Obama, you said, somebody asked you, give him a grade. You gave him a 4 out of 10.
Where do you rate Barack Obama?
A 4. A 4. I think there are a lot of decisions being made that I and probably the majority of Americans are not impressed with right now.
So you think that he's not doing a good job?
No, I think in the 2 areas that I am most concerned about, national security, there's some questionable actions that he's taken so recently that I believe weakens our country and
well, give me an example.
Security.
What's he doing wrong?
Gitmo. We decide we're going to close Gitmo without a security plan. We're going to bring Muhammad over here, and we're going to create this circus atmosphere here in New York and try this terrorist in our court system that is reserved under our Constitution for American citizens to be able to have their rights exercised.
Okay, so
that's
Gitmo and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed are mistakes. And I agree on both of them. I put them, if you had to close Guantanamo Bay for PR purposes, which is, you know, what their argument is, I'd put them in Alaska. I put them way up in Alaska. I'd build a little prison up there, way away from everybody, and see how they like it up there.
You know, we do have a vacated base up there in that too, where perhaps, but, you know, hey, let's hear what Alaskans would have to say about that. Allowing
you know, I think Alaskans would say,
homeland.
yeah, come on, bring them on up. Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, 88. Alaska, minus 15. Okay. Barack Obama, socialist?
Scares me the road that he has us on, not seeming to understand what it is that built up America's economic system, the free enterprise principles, the shrinkage of government, not the expansion to allow the private sector to grow and to thrive and to do what it does best, and our families to keep more of what they earn so that they can reinvest and prioritize instead of government doing it for them, which is a step towards socialism. So some of the steps we're taking economically right now scare the heck out of me.
Do you think that he wants to change the country into an entitlement society? We're
going to see, depending on his cap and tax bill that he will no doubt support coming out of Congress, that the health care bill, whatever that's going to cost us and whatever the answers are there to all of our questions about the health care, we're going to see if he decides that he can kind of shift gears, change course, and move us back to more of the free enterprise, free market principles that built up this country, then my answer to you is going to be, no, he's not hell-bent on changing the capitalist society that we are. But if he is stubborn about this, then my answer to you is going to be, well, his actions speak louder than our words, and yes, he's going to change our capitalistic society.
You ever talked to Obama? Have you ever spoken to him one-on-one to any extent?
Not to any extent. I've met him twice, but...
You've met him twice, but it's just, hi, how are you?
Yes.
That kind of thing?
Yes.
You think he's smart?
I think he's very smart.
Honest? Do you think he's honest?
I think that he has told us some things in the campaign. I think that he's told us some things early on in his presidency that have not come to fruition. He was all about positive change, and I think a lot of Americans are believing that the change that he's ushering in isn't necessarily positive.
Well, he says it is. I mean, and you're a conservative, so you don't like it. But
positive in terms of creating debt for our children.
No, but he says, but you know what the arguments are. I mean, he says that, look, a lot of Americans can't afford health insurance. The insurance companies are out of control. I got to get them under control. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, that's his point of view.
Let's get the health care problems under control then, but let's use free market, results-oriented patient-centered solutions to do that. Tort reform, he's not embracing any of those ideas. Getting rid of the waste and fraud that he insists today, if we would just get a handle on that, we could pay for this.
Well, he says he's going to get rid of the waste and fraud.
Let's do it right now then.
One of the amusing parts of your book for me was that you wanted to do the Reverend Wright dance. You wanted to get Reverend Wright up there and ram it right down Barack Obama's throat. Why?
Well, I believe that it is not negative campaigning or off base to call someone out on their associations. And Reverend Wright was a close associate of Barack Obama's for 20 years.
What's wrong with Reverend Wright?
Oh, any reverend who would say, "God damn America," there's something wrong with him and his beliefs.
Do you believe Barack Obama when he said he didn't know Reverend Wright was that radical? Do you believe him?
Over 20 years of being in the pew of Reverend Wright's church, surely you would think there would have been something spewed from the pulpit that didn't quite sound right for America. Over 20 years, maybe he just happened to miss those particular sermons, though.
You look a little skeptical, Governor.
I don't know. But my point is, in the campaign, I wanted to talk about the associations and the past voting record, too, and the experience, the 150 days in the U.S. Senate, building this foundation of experience. I wanted to talk about things like that, but we didn't, and I think that there was some unfairness there, again, to the electorate.
But again, I can't, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm going, they told you not to bring up Reverend Wright because McCain didn't want to do it. And you said to them what?
Well, I said that I would want to talk about it.
But you didn't make it a crushing point. See, I think I would have maybe grabbed McCain's tie and pulled him over and said, you got to do this.
You know what we did? And I'm going to give McCain some respect on this one, too. What I did in the rallies and up there at a podium, I put this empowerment in the hands of the voters, of the people who were there and were watching, and I said, it's not off base to call a candidate out on their record and their associations, and it's not negative campaigning. In other words, hey, you guys, if we're not going to do it, voters, you do it.
But it's stunning that you wanted to do it, and the McCain people said you couldn't do it, and you know that might have, particularly in places like Pennsylvania, made a difference because Reverend Wright obviously is a very controversial guy.